Look at our imports from the European Union. Our imports from the European Union have fallen relative to pre-Brexit levels. Our exports to the European Union are pretty much back to the levels they were at pre-Brexit and pre-COVID. And that is a puzzle, and it's a puzzle for this reason. The UK government has not yet put in place all the checks it should put in place on imports from the European Union. So actually, European Union exporters can export to us pretty easily at the moment without facing the full gamut of checks that UK exporters to the European Union are already facing. So intuitively, you would expect to see imports holding up better than exports. That hasn't been the case. We don't quite know why yet. Several suggestions, one of which is that UK exporters have decided, rather than face the risk of continuing with a UK market that is important but not that important, why don't we find other markets and save ourselves the hassle of setting up a paperwork department to deal with trade with the UK when they start imposing those checks. The other thing that's quite interesting that a recent paper we published last week illustrated is that while our exports to the European Union have held up well, the composition of those exports has changed quite fundamentally. That small firms have been driven out of our export market to the European Union. Small firms are no longer exporting in anything like the same numbers as they were pre-Brexit. And the answer to that is fairly straightforward, isn't it? Small firms don't have a compliance department. They don't have customs agents on hand. They don't necessarily have the manpower to fill in the forms that you need to trade with the European Union. So trade is changing, but it is still very, very early days. And of course, there's an awful lot of noise because of COVID. That being said, the LSE have forecast the medium-term impacts, and this is a forecast with all the necessary riders and caveats that it comes with. But by their model, over the course of the next 10 to 15 years, the impact of Brexit will be of the order of 2 to 3 times the impact of COVID. And